What is going on, guys? It's time for another video. I apologize, I've not been making that many videos. Again, it's all due to like work and traveling and those kind of things. But anyway, I'm here to make a video right now about what are some of the things that one must consider before buying an S4. Or I guess in a way you can say this applies to all German cars, not just the luxury version but also the performance version, especially to do with the performance version. Okay, so the first thing obviously is the finances. That's the first thing you should always consider. Can you afford the car? Yes, you may be able to find a car that's cheap, right, because it's used and whatnot, and which is great. But you know, for example, I bought this car for $27,000, and that's for original MSRP on this car probably is like 58 grand, probably in the high 50s, low 60s, depending on the options. So buying it for that cheap, it's great and all, but you got to keep up with the maintenance on the car and whatnot. So that's where it may bite you in the wallet, right? Can you like afford to put some money away in case something goes wrong? Those kind of things. So if you can check that out, if you can check that box off, you're already doing a great job. I mean, not just for buying this car, but probably in life in general. So the second thing to consider while buying a used S4, again it applies for other performance cars as well, is that people buy performance cars to thrash around more or less, right? I'm not saying everybody does that, but it is preferred. Notice I said preferred. I'm not saying it's a must. It's preferred if you buy a clean, unmodded performance car. So for example, when I bought this car had nothing on it. It was a bone stock Audi S4. It had zero mods. The only thing it had was some visual aesthetic mod, which was the ECS grille. That's I should say the RS4 grille, not ECS. It's nice knowing that the car that you are going to throw around has not been thrown around by somebody else before you. So that's always a little bit of a relief, in my opinion, because who knows what they've broken and given to you. So the third thing you should consider is doing your research. So when you do your research, I personally went into the forums, just a quick search that says what are the most common repairs, common things to fail in this car. Just search it like that on YouTube or on Google, and you'll get like lists of things that that typically go wrong with these cars. So for example, this car, it tends to go, the thermostat and the water pump are one of the biggest things to go in this car. And the water pump, so Audi in the B8 model, I think they might have changed it for the B8.5, but for the B8 model they used to have a plastic water pump. When you open up the hood and you look into the engine bay, you should see if the water pump that's installed is still plastic or metallic. So if it's plastic, then you may be up for a repair in the future. The thermostat, on the other hand, is also an issue in this car, and it's typically an easy fix, but not in this car. But for the S4, it's underneath the supercharger, so Audi went ahead and put it in one of the more complicated places to get to. So typical. And but the part itself, a genuine OEM water pump, is like $50. You can work on your cars and whatnot. That's an easy fix for you guys, right? But another thing these cars are known for is also burning oil. So typically Audi has said that on the S4s, if your car is burning a quart of oil between, say, 2,000 and 4,000 miles, where you have to add in a quart every 2,000, 4,000 miles, it's within spec. But if it's burning oil before that, you may have a bad PCV valve. And so for that, you just change that out, and then that should be good. The forums, Google in general, is a great research place. And that's the beeping that you just heard is the coolant reservoir sensor, where it says I have low coolant, but in fact I don't. I guess the sensor is kind of going bad, but that's a simple fix. The fourth thing to consider is insurance. So insurance for this car, speaking from personal experience, I'm not paying a whole lot for this car in terms of insurance. I'm only paying like probably $88. That's, yeah, so I'm only paying $88 for this car. And there's two reasons why, and that's a full comprehensive coverage too. And the reason why that's the case is because I waited until I was 25, that magical number where you're supposedly more responsible on the road, I guess. And if the insurance company is watching, I am. And the other thing is your driving record, obviously. You know, 0 tickets, 0 crashes, whatever else. And in addition to the insurance, another thing to consider is your aftermarket warranty, should you buy it. And in my case, honestly, it's such a 50-50 thing. If you're not too fond of taking risks and whatnot, buy it. But pro tip, keep all your OEM parts with you even after you swap it, because that way if you need to take it to the dealership for any reason, you can swap it in. And make sure to read the fine prints, because those guys will hide things like, you know, hey, you change your exhaust, your engine's no longer covered or something like that, which is what happened to me. And so be careful on those kind of things. But if you can work on the car on your own, screw them, don't buy it, because they're a huge waste of money, and all they care about is how not to you know, reimburse you or like pay for your car. They'll find any way possible, right? So don't fall for that. And so the fifth thing you want to look into is joining the forum of, you know, all these for any of the cars that you're trying to buy. So like for Audis, there's the Audi Zine. For BMWs, there's Bimmer Post, and for Mercedes AMG World, I don't know. But anyway, so there's obviously going to be sub forums, and you know, for the performance cars and whatnot. So always join those, and those guys are always helpful on there. But one of the easiest things you can do in one of these forums is, you know, ask these guys, if you find like a link to your car, to the car that you're buying, like say from a CarMax website or whatever, just send that link over post the link in the forum and ask them, is the price good for the year that it's, and year and miles that the car has run, and those kind of things. Ultimately, the decision is up to you. And so that leads me to the last point in this video, which is, if you are going to end up buying that car, do a pre-purchase inspection. Well, that's one of the biggest things you can do for yourself when you buy these cars, so that way it doesn't give you any big problems down the line. Anyways, guys, that's all I had for today. And as always, if you enjoyed the content, please leave a like, comment, and share, and obviously subscribe. for more. And like always, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys the next time.